few weeks ago we got a group of students together and we went downtown to St. Paul and raked leaves for the elderly.
Before we went there, I really never thought that St. Paul had a lot of poverty. I usually thought that it was like I thought it was all like upper class people and that there was no struggle there, and I was really surprised. At the start of our mission day, we prayed and got into vans, and we were going to St. Paul to rake leaves for elderly people. It wasn't what I had expected at all.
When we were at the first house, I took a moment to just look around the neighborhood, and I saw people who appeared to be suffering, and it seemed like they didn't have a lot of money, which wasn't really expected from what we usually think of St. Paul.
I realized how much of an impact we were having on the community when an old lady came out and she gave us cookies as a result of our working, and we were able to see her face and like interact with her, and it was a really cool experience to see what we were doing there. As I look back on the mission day, I realized how much of a community we had when we were serving together, and I really want us to bring it back to our school.
Yeah, we're just so blessed in Woodbury. We have so many things, we don't have to worry about anything. And what if we could all come together and be blessings to other people?
That would be really cool.
My name's Nate, and Jesus is better.
My name is Jameson, and I found that Jesus is better.
So when we met before we went, I was really nervous to go because, well, I didn't really want to, and Michelle convinced me to, and I didn't know what to expect because it was more of a personal kind of service project, going to someone's actual house, but it turned out to be pretty good.
And then before, I have always known that there was brokenness and heartbreak in other communities, and it's just sad to think about that, but then I've never thought about how the heartbreak and how the sadness was so close to where we lived, and it's so close to Woodbury, and I didn't know that it was just that close.
And then when we went into the vans, I was kind of thinking that it'd be really quiet and silent, but it wasn't at all, and we were talking and laughing already, and it's like we've been knowing each other since we were little, and we were all laughing. And then we got there, and there was like no hesitation to start. We just went right at it, and it was like really awesome teamwork. We worked really well together, even though we didn't know each other very well. And when we saw the lady we were doing work for, she had like the biggest smile on her face, and we could just tell that we were doing work really good for them.
It was just fun to see everyone come together and see the impact we made on that the woman's face, and see that smile, and see we impacted her, and how we can make people smile just by doing the little things like raking the leaves. It was just cool to see that.
We also, while driving to the dump, we saw this man that had just like, I think it was like a blanket over him, and maybe a backpack with some belongings. He had a cardboard box over his face to shield him from the wind, and it was really hard to see that because you really don't see that in Woodbury a lot, and it was very different and hard to see that there's brokenness outside of the world where we don't really see, and also here in Minnesota.
And just, I guess for me, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit to see people around me instead of just myself. And it opened my eyes because I've grown up in a place where you never see that. You never see a person just in rags and holding a bag, walking up and down the streets. I never got to see that when I was younger. And so it was a different sight to see that when we were helping just raking the leaves, and it opened my heart and opened my mind just to think of how being at a school where you can go out on a mission trip and just to be able to help those people and to simply just rake leaves. It's just a fun experience to be able to meet new people while you're with groups of people you don't actually know, and then you can meet them and be able to have a special connection and be like, oh yeah, we went to leave together. We got to help people that were in need.
Yeah, and it was an awesome learning experience for me. Not only because it was a new experience, but also I've always wanted to go on mission trips and go around the world to help people, but it was almost like a small mission trip in just itself, and you get the same relationships that you do then, and you change the same way, even if it's the littlest thing, like raking leaves. It made a huge impact on people, and it changed my thoughts on people around us. My name is Hannah, and I found out that Jesus is better.
My name is Michelle, and I found out Jesus is better.